Hi, I'm Emma, Energy for Life's yoga teacher, and today our 6-minute session is going to be a fun yoga flow. So Tom's going to demonstrate for us the moves. This is the introduction. So it would be great if you could follow along if you've not done much yoga before, so that we can really work the alignment to get a really good stretch into the muscles that we're targeting today. If you have trouble getting any of the poses, just feel free to pause, redo them until you feel comfortable. It might feel a little strange the first time you're doing it. If you've got your own mat, awesome, it's a little bit stickier so it's easier. If not, a towel will do, so just pick whatever you've got at home. So we're going to start in downward facing dog. So having the hands at the top of the mat, the feet towards the back, and it's basically just a simple inverted V. Now we want a long straight line through the spine, continuing through the arms, pressing firmly into the whole of the hand. So make sure there's no gaps underneath your knuckles, otherwise it might cause wrist injury. So be really firm into the floor. And then the other thing we want to ensure is bent knees. This is going to give you some allowance into your hamstrings as we stretch into them. The feet, the heels, don't need to be on the floor. Much better to be elevated and have a good stretch in the hamstrings. So what we don't want to see, just straighten your legs for a second, what we don't want to see is straight legs and a rounding through the spine. What we're looking for is bent knees, softening them, and then really long in this lower back section. So to intensify the stretch here, what you want to do is raise your lower sit bones right up to the sky. So if you think of where your butt cheeks meet your upper thigh, roll that space really high up to the sky, whilst at the same time keeping your heels as low to the earth as you can. So you can see this posterior tilt of the pelvis that Tom's doing for us, reaching the sit bones really high. At the same time, you want to ensure that your belly doesn't fall out, so drawing in your belly, drawing in your lower ribs, so they're not arcing to the floor. Just bring your knees down to the floor. It can be a pretty strong pose, a downward facing dog, the first few times you do it. So if you need to come down to your knees and rest at any time, and do that, come back in when you're ready. So we'll come back into our downward facing dog. Pressing through the hands, pressing through the balls of the feet, pressing your heart back to your ankles. Little bend in the knees, remember, very base of the bum up to the sky. From here we'll move on, we'll take the right leg up to the sky, straight as you can, and then bend the knee, roll open the hip. This is just to prepare. We're then going to step this right foot all the way forward to the right hand into a long lunge. So we're going to keep, to start, the back knee off the floor. So squeeze this back thigh, and at the same time see if you can descend your hips lower to the earth. What you want to ensure is that this front ankle is as far forward as the knee. So just bring that ankle a little further forward for me. Just protects the knee that way. And you'll feel a stretch all the way through the front of this left psoas, through here, and into the inner groin as well. So we'll spend 30 seconds here, just descending nice and gently. Use your hands to soften the strength through this pose. And then when you're ready, we'll go deeper by walking the right foot out wider, so it'll come off the side of your mat, and slightly further forward. Then if you can go a little lower through the hands, you might bring your forearms down to the floor. If not, maybe one, or just bend into the elbows to bring yourself a little lower. That's going to intensify the stretch quite a lot. You can also let the knife edge of your big toe and inner heel roll off the floor, so that, if I demonstrate here, you're just letting that knee open to the side slightly. You don't want any wrinkling through the ankle though, because that will cause ankle issues. Keep that ankle nice and strong. So if you can come down to your forearms, do that. Maybe even coming a little lower still. From there, the next pose, we're going to take ourselves into Skandasana. So it involves turning over to this left-hand side, both feet turn around, and then trying to sit down on this front heel. So what a lot of us will experience here is we won't feel like we can get as low as Tom's coming here. If that's the case, just bring your back leg in closer, and you'll find it easier to come all the way down. So the aim here is to start to lengthen the spine, so pick up your heart a little more. Flex your left toes up to the sky. You'll feel this then through the Achilles and into the calf. And then the lower you descend your hips, the more intense you'll feel it on the back of this left hamstring. If you can also lower your right heel down to the earth, you'll feel a bit more there as well. The other option to take this one deeper, if you're not feeling too much here, is to start to bring your forearms down to the earth, maybe even the crown of your head. So feel free to play around, move around with that pose if you like. From this one, we're going to turn back to the front of the mat and come towards our half pigeon. So the right foot walks across the mat, laying the right knee down. and just shuffling this left knee back behind you. So as you can see, Tom's leg here is on an angle, the front leg, the shin. The further forward this right ankle is, the more intense the stretch is going to be on this outer right hip around here. So you'll have to play with this yourself. When you're starting out, you might even have this heel underneath your opposite thigh. That may be enough for you in the outer hip. As you progress in openness through the hips, you might be able to bring that shin a lot further forward. Once you've got something that feels more or less comfortable, you can definitely stick with it, and there's no pressure in the knee, then you can start to come forward. So laying yourself down, you might start on your forearms again, and then coming down onto the back of the hands if you can get a little deeper. So just lying down into that. If you do feel that there's pressure on this front knee, make sure you flex the front foot. It's going to protect the knee ligaments. And if it's too much still, then just bring the ankle back a bit and try again. We're aiming to square the hips down towards the earth. That one we'll hold again for 30 seconds. And then when we come up, gently pressing into the hands, and we'll come back into our downward facing dog. So if you'd like to stretch out, you can take that right leg straight to the sky, just give it a bit of a shake, and then back into your downward facing dog. Pressing your heart back, posteriorly tilting the pelvis, hips to the sky. Awesome. So that's the main poses for our yoga flow there. We're only going to demonstrate one side here, but feel free to rewind and do it on the other side if this is your first time trying these poses out. And then we'll get straight into the workout. So click on the workout and we'll get going.